Couple of days later than usual, thanks to the new year, but we'd be remiss if we didn't leave you with one last edition of the Power Rankings heading into the postseason. You know the drill. Before we can truly focus on Week 18, we're going to take you through where things stand with one last Sunday to play. 20 teams still in contention, just 12 eliminated for the year. Crazy, crazy stuff. As has been the custom here for the last 3 or 4 weeks, we are going to stick pretty high up the board because at this point, I think you know what it looks like for the teams that are already ready to focus on the draft. Yeah, there's a handful of outliers down there in the teens and 20s that still have a shot at the playoffs, but we want to focus on the teams that truly have a chance to make some noise. We're going to start off with a disappointing one all the way down at number 12. And honestly, if they hadn't locked up their playoff spot so soon, we could argue the Philadephia Eagles should be lower, but at number 12, a whopping 5 spots down the board from last week, the Eagles have lost 4 out of 5. Could have dropped them lower the week before after a lackluster performance against the New York Giants, losing at the buzzer to the Seattle Seahawks. The writing has been on the wall that this isn't the same team for a while. Losing to the Arizona Cardinals just underlines it in red ink. This team feels like it's in trouble. It's in crisis mode. 12 feels right because you look at the roster, there's still plenty of reason to feel good about the Eagles on paper. We know what they can do when everything's clicking. They did lock up their playoff spot with weeks to play, so credit to them for that. But considering that they were fighting for home field advantage a few short weeks ago, and now they'll be lucky to win the division and get the home game that comes with it, anything can happen. I get that, but it's looking right now like the Eagles are going to have to go on the road through the entirety of the playoffs, not where it looked like this season was going. Can't write them off completely. A.J. Brown's still there, albeit maybe a little dissatisfied. Jalen Hurts, the offensive line. Hassan Reddick, Devontae Smith looks like he escaped major injury. A lot of reason to feel good, but you got to penalize them a little bit for what we've seen here over the last month, and that is exactly what I'm doing, dropping the Eagles easily as low as they've been all year. All right, similar story with a different ending up at number 9, up 2 spots from last week. I feel like I'm an outlier here, having the Kansas City Chiefs all the way down at number 9. But look, the reality is I respect them for what they've done and who they have. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, it speaks for themselves. They've locked up a playoff spot. They're not playing Mahomes in the season finale, so clearly they're doing something right. 8 straight division titles. But we don't have to pretend like what they've done here down the home stretch of the season is terribly impressive. Even the win that locked up the AFC West for them last week, they settled for 6 Harrison Butker field goals in that game to beat the Jake Browning Bengals. It's just not what we've gotten used to. We keep waiting for the offense to kick into gear. And yes, the defense is good, but to win against some of these quarterbacks that are waiting in the AFC playoffs, they're going to have to get more out of their offense. We just haven't seen it. We're not writing off the possibility that it shows up in the postseason, but this team, by Kansas City Chiefs standards, just hasn't been all that impressive, and that's evidenced by their 3 seed in the playoffs. It's already locked up. That's why they're not playing anybody. It's the worst seed of the Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid era. Or not Andy Reid. It's the worst seeding of Patrick Mahomes' time as the starter in Kansas City. That says a lot. It says a lot about how good they've been, but you reach a certain standard, I hold you to it. Still a top 10 team, not impressive by the Chiefs standards. Can't wait to see if they can finally turn it on in the playoffs, because we're not going to get another look at Mahomes in the regular season. All right. Up at number 6, I actually did not move the Dallas Cowboys this week. It's not a knock on them, but you look at who's above them. Yes. Did Miami get waxed by Baltimore last week? They absolutely did. Did the Dolphins just beat the Cowboys? They sure did. Same thing goes for the Buffalo Bills, who might not have looked impressive against the Patriots, but they housed the Cowboys just a couple of weeks ago. So you survive the Lions at home. It's a good win. It's a very good win, but I don't have a problem keeping you right where you are, below 2 teams that just beat you, not to mention some of the juggernauts up at the top. So it's a good Cowboys team. Dak Prescott continues to play amazingly, and I think the haters are going to be shocked by this, but whatever chance the Cowboys have in the playoffs is going to come from Dak Prescott. The defense has not been up to its standard here over the last month of the season. I think injuries are finally catching up to them. This team lives and dies with Dak Prescott. When he's on, they're as good as anyone in the NFL. When he's not, it can look kind of ugly, like we've seen a couple of times this season. But I think 6 is a perfectly good spot for the Cowboys, who have a chance to be the number 2 seed in the NFC playoffs when this weekend is all said and done. Okay, I mentioned the Bills, keeping them right where they are at number 4. Uninspiring win against New England, but you get a division win. You set up the opportunity to go to Miami and finish as the number 2 seed in the AFC. They've won 4 straight. I'm rolling with the totality of what they've done over the last month, over these last 2 wins, which haven't been very good, but they got a chance to be the number 2 seed. It's pretty wild that a team that's in the top 5 of my power rankings might fall out of the playoffs altogether if the wrong things happen this weekend. But I'm trusting in the Buffalo Bills. I do think at the end of the day, they'll ultimately win the AFC East. That would be my pick if I was making one. Guess I should save that for the preview episode. But the Bills as hot as anybody in the NFL over the last month, other than maybe my number 3 team. Yeah, my number 3 team, the Cleveland Browns. I can't really believe it either. But when Joe Flacco is throwing for 300 yards a week and the defense is showing up to play, they've been kicking ass. It's a combination that I don't think you can write off. An offense that has really come to life with Joe Flacco, Amari Cooper taking on a life of his own with Flacco under center. The offense can reliably get you to the low, mid, high 20s, depending on the opponent. I mean, shoot, they almost scored 40 against a nasty Jets defense last week. And the defense is going to be able to pick up the slack for you. Maybe this has the potential to age poorly, but we know the Browns are locked into the 5 seed. They'll go on the road to play a flawed AFC South team in the playoffs, most likely. I like them to get to the divisional round, and we've already talked about the flaws with some of the teams that'll host there. I'm not writing the Browns off to make some serious noise in the postseason. It's incredible that we're saying these words out loud in January. I can't wait to see where it goes. All right, wrapping up, of course, number 1, Baltimore Ravens beating down Miami by 37 in the last game. We'll see from them. Lamar Jackson not going to play this weekend. So we've got 2 weeks to sit and wait, but I've already said it. I think Lamar Jackson locked up MVP with that performance, more touchdowns than incompletions against Miami. They've beaten so many good teams this season. A lot of those wins have been decisive. For all we talked about San Francisco, I want to make sure we owe the Ravens the service of pointing out just how good their season has been. For some reason, it felt like they did a lot of it in the shadows compared to Philadelphia, San Francisco, Dallas. The Ravens have been consistent. They've been dominant more often than not. They are worthy of being number 1 heading into the playoffs, and it's going to be a 2-week wait to see if they deliver on that when they get there.